Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys to this video. Okay, this is a book review I've done. Haven't done a book review in a while. Here we're going to be covering this book known as al-Furooq al-Lughawiyya. Those of you who are interested in the Arabic language, who want to delve into the linguistic aspect of the Arabic language, words and meanings and all of that, well, this is the book for you then. It's a kind of dictionary which goes through the differences between words. So sometimes you get two words which are very, very similar in meaning, possibly, like you get khawf and khashya, or you get some other words in the Arabic language, and you want to kind of find out, okay, what's the difference between these two. So this is the book for you guys. This is one of the earliest books written by the scholars on this topic. There's other books that have been written later on after them. However, this is one of the earliest ones, and this is why I chose it, because it's written by Abu Hilal al-Askari. Abu Hilal al-Askari, who was a famous linguist, and he was in the 4th century scholar, in 300s. So this is a good book. Now, what you have to understand before you actually go into this book, linguists have differed with regards to, if you have a word, can you get another word that means exactly the same thing? So can you have what we call synonymous words? Okay, so for example, like in English, a seat or a chair or a sofa, a stool, and words that can mean the same thing. Are there any words out there that are synonymous? So there's one camp of scholars that says yes, there are, and they'll say things like khawf can mean khashya, and thana can mean madh, and these kind of words which you probably know in the Arabic language, like praising can mean to say good about someone, to thank someone even. And there's another camp of scholars who say no. In the Arabic language, originally, there were no words which can be used in place of another word. Each and every single individual word is tailor-made for that meaning. And if you were to use another word in place of it, the word would not be fulfilling all aspects of that word. And there's many evidences. And inshallah, if I get time, inshallah, I'll make a video on the concept of taraduf in the Arabic language, words that have synonymous meanings in the Arabic language. Does that exist? Does it not? What do the scholars say? So I can make another video on that and dedicate it to that. But this one, I just want to focus on how to use this book or this dictionary. So Furooq al-Lughawiyya, Imam Abu Hilal al-Askari was on the opinion that no, words do not have synonymous meanings. Every word has its own meaning. So what he's decided to do, he's taken words from the Quran, from Hadith, from fiqh, and just generally from the Arabic language, and he's taken those words which are used commonly in place of one another, and he's differentiated between each one of them, giving examples. So this is an excellent book for those of you guys who are interested in these subtle details. There are books that are written actually after that in Arabic and in Urdu as well, which distinguish words, especially when it comes to Quran. So for example, like Imam Raghib al-Asfahani, who came after him, he has his famous book al-Mufradat, which is a very, very good book. Anyway, let's go to this book then. So he, in the book, he's actually divided into 13 chapters. So this book is not really according to alphabetical order that we're used to in dictionaries. It's actually in 13 chapters. So the first chapter, he talks about the concept of words not having the same meaning, and he brings about 8 evidences to prove this, to show his position. And that's basically in the first chapter. Then after that, he kind of puts the words into groups. So if you want to use this dictionary, you actually have to kind of read through it to be able to understand how to use it. You won't be able to use it if you're looking for a specific word. You won't be able to use it unless you're using the like a Shamila version of it, where you can search for a word easily. Besides that, you won't be able to use it. There are some scholars who came later on. There's a writer, his name is Baytullah Bayat. And what he's done, he's taken the whole of this dictionary and he's actually put it into alphabetical order, which is an excellent thing that he's done. Very, very useful. And the book is actually only in 1 volume. So you can actually purchase it as well if you want. I don't have the version of Baytullah Bayat's, but you can get it. Anyway, so that's that. So let's look at an example of a word. So like I said to you, if you look at these words, he does not bring them according to, he'll say, for example, like what's the al-farqu bayn al-fardi wal-ma'na? Yeah, so he doesn't bring like the chapter of F or the chapter of Ain, or doesn't bring anything like that. You just got to go through and find what's the difference between ma'na and mawsuf. So he brings that. What's the difference between al-kalam and taqlim? So he mentions the difference between the two. Very, very useful book, like I said, for those who are very interested in this kind of a topic. Okay, so let's whiz down. Let's try to find a good example. Okay, so here's a good example. For example, like nasib and hadh. So these are words that come in the Quran. What's the difference between nasib and hadh? Bring this bit up. So he says, أن النصيب يكون في المحبوب والمكروه. Nasib is a share. In English, you translate these two usually as a share, portion. So he says, أن النصيب, a portion, النصيب يكون في المحبوب is used for something that's loved and something that's disliked as well. So you can say a portion of something, even though you like it or maybe you dislike it. يقال وفاه الله نصيبه من النعيم. That Allah Ta'ala, He gave him his portion of na'im, luxury, أو من العذاب, or of torture, punishment. ولا يقال, however, it's not said حظه من العذاب. You can't say that in Arabic. حظه من العذاب. Yeah, because hadh is always used for something which is good, something which is liked. And when people do use these kind of things, this shows, right, this guy's made a mistake here. So this is why, there are books that were written around that time and later on to actually correct people's languages. And one of the famous books, which I might do a video on as well, is called Islah al-Mantiq by Ibn Sakit. Islah al-Mantiq by Ibn Sakit, which he done to correct the dilution of the Arabic language. So because non-Arabs were entering into the Arabian Peninsula, and the Arabic language is now becoming influenced by foreigners. So what happened was he wanted to preserve how Arabs originally said things so that you can understand the Quran in the correct way. So he says that you can't use hadh unless you want to use it as isti'ara, unless you want to use it metaphorically, then you can use it for punishment, but normally you can't. لأن أصل الحظ هو ما يحظه الله تعالى للعبد من خير. It's that portion which Allah gives of goodness. It has to be good. Okay, so that's a bit about. Let's look at an example of what we just looked at. So the difference between nasib and hadh. So you have أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا. Those for them is a portion of what they've earned. In other words, is a portion whether they've earned something which is good for themselves or whether they've earned something which is bad and evil for themselves. Allah says, لهم نصيب. Now if Allah had said hadh here, it would have been positive. لهم حظ مما كسبوا. They would have had something good or what they've earned. So the word nasib over here is used. Now let's look at the word hadh being used. Allah says, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. So مَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا. So those with patience are the only ones that will receive this, that will have this. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. And those who possess a great portion will only receive this. In other words, Allah here is talking about a good quality in the believers and says, لا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة. A good action will never equal an evil action. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن. Repel anyone who does anything evil to you. Repel it with that which is better. فإذا الذي بينك وبينه. And all of a sudden, that enmity which is between you and him, عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. It's as though he's become the most beloved, the warmest friend. وما يلقاها. So this ability to be able to repel evil with good is only reserved for those people who have sabr, and is only reserved for those people who have hadh azim, a great portion. So if Allah had used the word ذو نصيب عظيم, then the meaning wouldn't be correct. Yeah. So hadh here refers to something which is very, very positive, very good, something that someone really likes and wants. That وَالنَّصِيبُ مَا نُصِبَ لِيَنَالُهُ. And nasib is from nasb, which means something that's erected so that a person can gain it, whether that thing is liked or disliked. Anyway, so that's that. Then he goes into the difference between nasib and hissa. Okay, hissa and nasib. And then he goes into nasib wal khalaq. So, okay, nasib and khalaq. Then he goes into nasib and qist. So you see, if you actually study this book, it is extremely beneficial when it comes to trying to understand the subtle differences and why Allah brings, for example, nasib sometimes, and he brings khalaq sometimes. Laysa lahum fil akhirati min khalaq, and didn't say nasib. So for example, like an al-khalaq and nasib al-wafir. Khalaq is that nasib, that portion which is in abundance of goodness. Khasadan bit taqdir. Okay, so that's something, if you're interested, you can look into that. Difference between rizq and hadh. So that's basically what the book is about. So, if you're interested in this book, very, very good to get this if you're interested in understanding Arabic language in greater detail. If you don't know Arabic, then there is an Urdu book which is quite good, which is just focuses on the Quran, which is known as Mutaradifat al-Quran. Okay, which is also a very good book, but it's in Urdu. And if you can understand Urdu, excellent. If you can't, then you'll either have to learn one of these languages. And I think there are some resources online that you can get where someone's gone and taken these books and this information and they've translated to English and made it very easy and accessible for the layman. So I hope that is clear, that makes sense. If you have any questions, guys, you can post them in the comments. And if you want me to make any future videos as well, then please put your suggestions in the comments as well. Jazakumullah khair, and please subscribe to this channel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.